the house and decide, wait, I can't live here. It's a 2-hour commute. What was I thinking?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Financial Minute. So glad you could join me today. My name's Josh, and if you're new here, we talk all things finance. Today we're talking about buying a house, and more specifically, buying a house in a tight market where it's more of a seller's market than a buyer's market, or an all-out seller's market in some situations across the country and the world for that matter in 2021. So let's get right to that right after this. Okay guys, so tip number one when buying a house in a tight market, or really any market for that matter, but especially in a tight market, make sure you got your finances together. All your I's dotted and your T's crossed. Basically, make sure your credit, you've combed it. Make sure you haven't had any late payments so your credit score is high. Make sure that you're pre-approved for a loan, or that if you're paying cash, you have proof of payment. So you have evidence of the funds ready in a moment's notice, and make sure those funds are accessible. They're not in some type of Roth IRA or something where it may take a while to liquidate them. Make sure those funds are in an accessible checking account. Even for your down payment, make sure those funds are accessible. They're not tied up in some type of investment. Make sure you have all of your utilities paid up over the past few years, or just make sure you're keeping an eye on this kind of stuff. Also, if you have more than one checking account, make sure you keep it simple. You don't want to be making any huge financial transfers of money, because this may come to haunt you during the purchasing process. When your lender reaches out to you and says, hey, where did this $10,000 transfer of money go to or come from? It doesn't just matter on money that leaves your account. It also matters on money that comes into your account. So you think, well, that's good, right? When you have a lot of money coming in. Well, yes and no. Yes, it's good because you have that money, but no in the fact that your lender is going to want to know where that money came from. So especially if this happened right before you're trying to buy this house, those funds may be questioned. Also, if you can, plan on putting down more than 10%, 15, 20, 25%. This looks really good to the seller. That means, it looks good for you. It means you have the ability to buy this house, most likely, and it's less of a risk to the seller that you're going to fall through and this deal won't go through. When you put down a security deposit, make it a big one. A lot of people only put 1 or 2% down. Put a higher percentage down. The higher, I won't say the higher the better, because, that's up to you. But from a seller's standpoint, the higher is the better, because, that means you're going to go through with this deal no matter what, most likely. In a hot market, a lot of people will say you want to commit to a popular real estate agent. But I don't know, my opinion on this varies a little bit, because in a hot market, you just might not be able to find a house for a little while. You're going to be looking at a lot of houses that'll probably fall through, just because the competition is fierce, and you're going to have, you still got to look at a house, you still got to, see it before you can buy it. You got to walk through it, and that requires the realtor to show up, let you in, and walk you through the house. In a hot market, you're going to be doing this a lot. What else happens in a hot market? Real estate agents are very busy. So if you have a very popular real estate agent, they just might not have the time to show you all of these houses on your schedule. You're gonna have to work around their schedule, and you're on a list of people they have to work with. So you might find an agent who's a little bit newer and work with that agent, because that agent is going to be able to give you more of their time and resources. And let's face it, all realtors kind of have the same things to work with. There's only so many houses to work with, and They all have the same pool of houses to work with. Of course, some real estate agents might get a hold of a house before another real estate agent, an off-market house, but really that's just going to be random. And you as the buyer can also be looking for houses that are off-market, looking for, yard sales or garage sales. These are houses that are getting ready to go on the market. Do your own due diligence. Don't rely just on your realtor. Be finding these houses. Maybe you find a short sale or a bank-owned property. Do your own due diligence. Don't just rely on your realtor to find your property, because and the reality is you're the one that's going to have the most gain or lose on the purchase of this house. And a realtor is there to kind of walk you through the process, but make sure you're doing your own, due diligence. You're looking for houses, you're scoping out the market, you're traveling the neighborhoods you want to look in, and you're looking for those garage sale signs, yard sale signs, bank-owned properties, even properties that are pre-foreclosure, especially if you're paying cash. Do your own due diligence, but the realtor, and this is my opinion, is going to have more time for you if they don't have nearly as many clients as a really busy realtor. And I think you're going to enjoy the experience more. That is my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But that's tip 2. Do your due diligence on all the properties. Find the stuff you like. Then have your realtor show you. Maybe select a smaller realtor who's going to put the time and effort, who has some history and has had some really happy clients, but they don't have necessarily a ton of history. So you're looking for a semi-new realtor who's really hungry and looking to grow quickly. Tip number 3, know what you want in a house. If it's a hot market, you're not going to have time to go look at a ton of different houses to decide, oh, maybe I need 3 bathrooms or 2 bathrooms or 4 bathrooms, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 4 bathroom, 4 bedroom, 3 bedroom, or 2 bedroom. There we go. You got to decide this ahead of time. Do your own due diligence, figure out what you really need versus what you can afford. In a hot market, you're going to notice prices are a lot higher than normal, so you're going to have to really decide, do I want to spend the money to buy that house that I dreamt of, or do I want to be frugal and buy the house that fits my needs? Or maybe I'm willing to buy something that needs a little bit of fixing up, or maybe I'm just more flexible altogether and I'll make whatever we can find work as long as it has maybe 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Tip number 4 kind of goes along with tip number 3. As you're going through this process, in a hot market, this process may not happen overnight from the buyer's perspective. If you're selling a house, it's probably going to happen fairly quick because there's a line of people waiting to buy your house. But if you're the buyer, this is going to be more of a hunt. So as you're going through this process and you've looked at houses and you've been outbid on houses and maybe houses sold before you could even get a bid in on them, you are narrowing down what you really need and what you can afford and what you really want in a house, what your priorities are. So narrow those down. The longer you're in it, the more you should have it narrowed down to what you want and where you want it. Narrow that neighborhood down as well. You don't want to be trekking the globe looking at houses just to get into that house and decide, wait, I can't live here. It's a 2-hour commute. What was I thinking? Now you're in a pickle because you got to go through the process twice. You got to sell the house and buy another one. So don't do that, because then you're going to be paying 3 commissions as well. So it's not a mistake you want to make. You really got to figure out what you want in a house before you buy it, and then as you're going through the process, narrow that down even further, so you don't have to go through this again and pay that commission, because the commission is pretty high. All in, you're going to be paying. Well, in a hot market, you're going to be probably paying more commission than normal. Usually, the seller pays the majority of the commission, but in a hot market, you're probably going to be paying some of the commission as well to become more competitive. Tip number 5, kind of going along with what we were talking about earlier. do your research. Don't rely on your realtor to do all the research, because they just don't have the time, and they're not you. They don't know exactly what you want. I mean, they may have a good idea, and the idea is that you're telling them what you want, and the longer you do it, the better idea this realtor has of what you want. That being said, they're still not you. So do your own research. Look at expired listings. So maybe somebody was trying to sell a house and it fell through and they gave up, and they're waiting a little bit. That's how expired listings happen. So look through the expired listings, see if there's anything of interest, and point those out to your realtor so they can show them to you. Also, while you're doing that, look at bank-owned properties or maybe pre-foreclosure properties. Do a little research on those, as there are more risks involved when you purchase bank-owned properties and pre-foreclosure, definitely pre-foreclosure properties. But these are definitely options, especially in a hot market. You gotta broaden your horizons a little bit. You know, as long as you feel comfortable with doing that. So do your own research on, the foreclosure process, and decide if that's something you're interested in pursuing. But it's definitely an option if you're willing to go jump through the loops. Okay, tip number 6, guys. Act fast. Everything is fast in a hot market. It's competitive. It's kind of like a auction. So it almost turns into like an auction. If you've ever been to like a car auction or an antique auction, these houses get bid on. It's not so much you offer asking price. It's more of a ton of people submit offers and the seller picks one. So you gotta act fast. Don't waste time dilly-dallying. That house hits the market, get over there, look at it, and then get your realtor to let you in it and get an offer in as soon as possible. And don't think, well, we'll think about it overnight. Get an offer in that night if you're interested. If you're not interested, then don't. But if it's something you're interested in, get an offer in ASAP. Okay, guys, for tip number 7, make your offer clean. Don't put in a ton of requirements of the seller. From a seller's standpoint, it's more of a pain when they see, well, we got to do this test and we want this requirement. We want to have everything tested twice by 3 different parties. This just makes your offer that much less appetizing. You could offer a lot more than somebody else, but you have so many requirements in your offer and so many contingencies that I'm willing to give the house to somebody for less money and not have to deal with those contingencies as the seller. Also, maybe you might not use creative financing. You might want to go conventional if at all possible, because a conventional loan is seen as a benefit to the seller because there's less hoops to jump through most of the time anyways. So if you can do conventional, awesome. If you can do cash, well, even better. But these are the types of things. Most people can't do cash, but if you can do conventional with a down payment, like I was saying earlier, of at least 15 to 20%, even 25%, awesome. That's awesome. If you can put down a larger than normal security deposit, awesome. These are all things that help your offer stand out. You don't have a ton of contingencies. You say things about how you love the house. Send them a letter. Write them a letter saying how you like this aspect of the house, how you wouldn't change it at all, how you just pick out some of the details of the house that you love and add them to the offer, letting the seller know that you don't just want to buy their house, you love their house as it is, and you really want to make that house your home. A lot of sellers, they're attached to their home and they look highly upon it. So when they see somebody else that feels the same way they do about their home, that can definitely help your offer. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed some of these tips. If you're in the buyer's shoes right now and you need to get a house, it's a tough year, honestly, to be in the buyer's shoes. I just sold a home, and so I wasn't in those shoes, but I had to deal with a lot of buyers who were very anxious about buying a home because they just been trying so hard to buy a home in a market where there's not many houses to choose from, and there's plenty of buyers looking for very similar properties. So I wish you the best. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below in the comment section. Any ideas that you'd like to add into this, please, by all means, leave them down in the comment section below. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. As always, only you can make your financial dreams come true. Don't delay. Get started today. I'll see you all in the next video. Be safe. God bless. Bye.